Hello there, thank you for tuning in to my battle report of the Alpha Fortress Games Store Tournament for January 13th of 2024, our first of year tournament. This tournament was basically LVO practice for our boys that are going up to LVO. I will not be going to LVO. I don't think I'm skilled enough at the game, and also I don't have plans to go there yet. Maybe next year though, we'll see. But regardless, hope that the people that are going to LVO that were at this tournament have a great tournament and that they do well. We only had about 8 players, so there was no Worlds invite on the line like there was last time at our store championship. But yeah, I still did well. I reached my goal. My goal was to go 2-1, and I did that, which is great. Lost round 1, won round 2, and won round 3, which was against an opponent that I had actually lost a couple games against in the past, so I'm finally starting to make that win-to-loss ratio more even, I guess. But yeah, so in this video, I guess just wanted to go over the games I had, mistakes I made, things I did well, and yeah, I'll just go right into it. Oh yeah, I'll talk about my list first. My list is the Tempest Force Scouts, so it's 6 Scout Troopers with prepared supplies, situational awareness, emergency transponders, and 3 of them have smoke grenades. The idea behind it is to not take just chip damage from critical stuff. They spin the dodge to cancel 1 crit, and hopefully that's all the crits there are. It doesn't work against high velocity, obviously, but most of those type of snipers, I can just stand behind some heavy cover, and with low profile, I will not be taking any damage. Unless they have sharpshooter too, but usually they're a range 1 to 3 unit in that case, and I can probably close to range 2 in order to shoot them. It's mainly just designed for survivability. It works super effectively. Anyways, the other units in the list are, of course, 3 speeder bikes. That's kind of a staple these days for Empire. And 2 stormtrooper units, both with HH-12s, 1 with a medical droid, and 1 with a stormtrooper specialist. An Imperial officer with commanding presence is what I put on her. But we had an interesting thing in this tournament where at the end of every round, because it was LVO practice and it was kind of casual, you can change out 1 or 2 upgrade cards. So you if you had an idea like, oh, do I want to do commanding presence or improvised orders, you can switch them around to see which card works better. I ended up switching out commanding presence for improv, obviously for rounds 2 and 3. I thought the extra range 4 would be nice for the speeders so they could be a little bit farther away. Turns out that Becky doesn't want to go to the center of the map because that's probably where Becky dies. But yeah, all that said, we have about a 12-point initiative bid, so it means that I'm using my battle deck, and I think I actually used my battle deck in every single game. The objectives I had were recover the supplies, which is great for the scout troopers, bombing run, breakthrough, great for speeders and scouts for breakthrough because they have scout 3. And then intercept the transmissions. I chose this over key positions because I think more players have more experience over me in key positions. So I figured I would do intercept the transmissions because I could get to the center point, grab some early points with some kind of throwaway units. I don't know, maybe like a stormtrooper or a single scout unit. And at the end of the game, just throw all my units towards it. And just run my speeder bikes, I guess, is just a distraction unit that mainly get some shots off, kill a couple units, and then die. That's all they really need to do, I guess. And maybe with the special rule in Tempest Force where you basically get to deploy one of your guys using the rapid reinforcements rules, which is beyond range 2 of enemies, it flips its order token face down. That unit might be able to contest the back point during the final round as well to get some extra points scored. So intercept was my go. I did not play it at all this event. Deployment wise, I picked hemmed in, major offensive, battle lines, and disarray. Disarray and battle lines are of course great for speeders. They're not terrible for scouts because the scout 3 kind of puts them in the center of the map. Major offensive is an okay one for scouts and an okay one for speeders. I'm a bit more familiar with this deployment, so I picked it. And the reason why I picked hemmed in over danger close is because danger close you can either deploy in the panhandles to be close to the center of the map, or you can deploy in the back lines to be farther away from your opponent. And with my list, I definitely want to be closer to the opponent, so I picked hemmed in because it lets me do that, and also provides an interesting choice for my opponent. Do they split their forces and let me overwhelm one of their sides, or do they keep all their forces together and I just go do the objective and win the game? So I don't know, hemmed in I think is a little bit better for this list. The conditions that I had in my list were limited visibility, which is amazing for scouts. Then we had clear conditions because I was like, I'm not sure what other objective I should take, so I'll just take this one. Fortified positions because it's really good for scout troopers. They really do like heavy cover. It's 3 hits canceled for them, and they have sharpshooter 1, so because everything on the map is generally hardcover, this just kind of makes it to where I can move around a bit more and also get some pretty good shots still, because if everything else is hardcover, then my sharpshooter one's just doing the same thing no matter what. And the final objective I had was, I believe, War Weary. Yeah, I think I had War Weary in my deck, just because Becky's going to stay close to the Stormtroopers pretty much 99% of the time, and that's cool with them. I did not have Hostile Environment in my deck because I didn't really want to deal with having a Scout Trooper in the open that's suppressed. So yeah, I think I picked War Weary because I only have the 2 core units, and Becky can just stay right next to him, and everything else is fine. Yeah, anyways, that's my list. Very objective skewed, also just range 2 skew. So obviously if I go against Wookiees, it's going to be a struggle, but against most everything else, it can do decently. It just needs to play the right way. Anyways, first round, did not play well. I was playing against the Emperor Palpatine, Iden, Inferno Squad attack strike list. So Emperor Palpatine with Anger, Force Barrier, Burst of Speed, Improvised Orders. Iden with the Offensive Push and Hunter as her loadout option. And with the TL50 repeater or the Sniper Rifle. She used the TL50 repeater this game actually, just for the 5 dice crit generation. She had the opponent is a he. He had a unit of short troopers with a T-21B, a unit of stormtroopers with electro binoculars, which is interesting, a mortar trooper with nothing on it, Imperial Royal Guards with the IRGs with the Electro Guard and Protector, the standard loadout, Imperial Special Forces with offensive push, and 2 sniper units, strike teams. And the battle cards that we ended up playing with were Battle Lines, Recover the Supplies, and Fortified Defenses. The extra barricades that we got helped me out a little bit for round 1, and they didn't really do anything else for me or for him. They were kind of just there. Battle Lines was a nice deployment. We ended up just kind of going in the corner and Recover the Supplies. Obviously, all our boxes ended up being towards the left side a bit more. There was one in the center of the map, and the other 4 were just literally in the left corner. And basically what happened, this is footage from round 3. It kind of shows I put my speeders on the right side of the map to try to flank around, but I didn't go super aggressively with them. I didn't want to commit to going in for the short troopers and having Palpatine come out and lightning them. So I ended up losing a bike model because they were able to draw line of sight and shoot one of them down. And I think I lost a second bike model too when they tried to come back this one way. So I lost my bikes unnecessarily, which really hurt, and they were also in a position where they really weren't doing that much. And most of his forces pretty much just stayed behind this tree for pretty much the entire match, and just kind of came out later on. As you saw, the Royal Guards had already moved up to this point. They had done the tactical strike. I forgot how tac strike actually worked. So that was a big reason why I lost, because I think if I remembered how that would work, I would have definitely kept my speeders closer. But at the time, I forgot how it worked, so I pretty much lost the game because of that, because I think I lost 2 scouts on that initial gun-in. Round, I think 1 or 2, I lost a scout unit that I actually wouldn't have lost had I remembered to deploy their smoke grenades, because then they would have just like survived. I think at 1 model left, which would have required one of his units to attack that and kill it, not a sniper. So it would have had to been like Iden or something important to shoot him off, which would have been good. All our boxes pretty much deployed on the left side of the map around the 1 generator, with 1 box in the center. I got the box in the center and was able to get that successfully. The 2 boxes on my side though, I just lost too many bodies and wasn't able to go out and get it. The actual game though ended with a 2-1 score. He had 2 boxes and I had 1 box. I think the only thing I killed was a sniper unit. Only killed a sniper unit, and I think he actually ended up killing all of my stuff except for 1 scout unit that had the box at the end of the game. And yeah, I think if I had put my boxes more towards the center of the map, it would have gone way better for me. But even if I had kept the boxes where they were, had I remembered to use my smoke grenades, that would have helped a lot. And keeping my bikes within range of my units, just having them basically patrol on the back lines. That way, when he starts doing tactical strike turn, I can have my bikes go out and help kill a unit. And just be more aggressive. The main thing I think I lost on was just not being aggressive enough. I was too afraid of the pop bomb and trying to stay away from the tree log. Which I guess is legitimate, but honestly I should have just been more aggressive and set up my speeder bikes to shoot down something into round 1, and then set up a good standby turn where if he moves anything out, it gets shot immediately. That way he only gets to do tactical strike turn 3, and it probably gives my scouts enough time to get the boxes back. But all lessons learned, and we will learn them again if we have to. He ended up actually going on to win the tournament, so congratulations to him. Good Imperial victory. So this blue on blue Empire versus Empire doesn't matter at the end of the day. We actually had quite a bit of blue on blue. The tournament statistics, we had 2 Imperial players, 2 Rebel players, 3 Separatist players, and 1 Galactic Republic player who was doing Anakin, 3 clone units, Echo, a clone commander, and 3 Barks. He was actually the player I played round 3 actually. So for round 2, I got to play the Separatist Triple Saber list. His list exactly was Count Dooku with Burst of Speed, Force Reflexes, and Force Push. Standard, I think. Maul with Force Push, Burst of Speed, Tenacity, and Asajj with Burst of Speed and Into the Fray. And then he had a CT Series Tactical Droid with no upgrades, 3 B1s, 1 with just a regular B1 model for the 7th model, that way it doesn't get one-shotted as easily, and then 2 B1s with the EC5 B1 Trooper, and a Dark Sith Pro Droid unit. And this comes out at exactly 800 points. The objectives that we had was Breakthrough, our deployment was Disarray, and our final objective was Fortified Defenses, which I don't think it did anything here this match actually. It was nice to have though, but it didn't do anything. And it was a very, very interesting match. Playing against triple force users with a list that, I mean, technically each force user could probably just one-shot all the units was kind of interesting. Disarray though, I think helped me out a lot. He ended up putting all his B1s in his tactical droid, 4 activations in one zone, and his 3 force users in another zone. With actually Darth Maul playing his Phantom Menace card in order to get in my zone, one of my zones, for let's see, round 1. Yeah, for round 1, he was across from the other 2 Separatist characters. So technically all 3 Separatist characters were on one side of the table. One of them already in my zone, the other 2 within a couple bursts of speed moves. And the rest of his list was elsewhere. Obviously the Maul's balls were where Maul was, and all of the units I had were kind of split up a little bit as well. So I ended up deploying 4 units of scouts to the force users as well as Becky. The main idea was to get out the constantly alert card for 3 standby tokens and try to shoot down Maul. I ended up only able to spin 1 of those standbys when Maul did a move. It did do some good damage though. I think it did like 3 or 4 damage actually. Didn't kill Maul though, and he ended up going to melee, I think wiping out a unit of scouts, or yeah, he ended up wiping a unit of scouts and force pushing a unit of scouts into him, and he was already based with Becky as well. So I ended up withdrawing both of those later on and having another unit of scouts move up to shoot. And then I had my other unit of scouts, which is my 4th unit, start shooting at the Maul's balls and see if they could kill those. They were not able to one-shot them, unfortunately. They survived round 1, and then Dooku and Ventress moved in. Dooku was able to get a Force Lightning off. I don't think he killed any of them at the scouts, but he did scatter them, so next round I think he was actually able to one-shot them with just a lightning. Anyways, the rest of my units, though, for round 1 deployed in the other zone across from the droids, which was the 2 Stormtroopers, the 2 Scout Troopers, and 3 Speeder Bikes. And they pretty much just kind of wiped out droids as much as possible. I had my Speeder Bikes all go at the very last, or just whenever they could. There was a pyramid that was in his zone that I pretty much utilized to keep my speeders blocked line of sight. Well, used to block line of sight to my speeders. So if I do a move action forward with my speeders, he has to move up in order to get a shot off at range 3. But then he's moving into the Stormtroopers range and Scout Troopers range for next turn. So he basically just held position, shot at Stormtroopers as I moved them up. And my speeder bikes were able to move up and take out one of his B1 units down to just 1 model for round 1. Oh no, down to 3 models for round 1. Did not roll that well with the speeder bikes for those first few shots, but we're able to kill enough B1s. So for round 2, I was able to finish them off and start working on a couple other B1 units, as well as I didn't get any shots off on the tactical droid, but I did kill a few other B1s. My Stormtroopers took a couple shots in round 2, didn't really kill anything. I think they killed like a single B1 with both their shots combined, which felt bad. Scouts moved up, were not able to get shots because they had originally planned to go for the one deployment zone where the Sith were, but decided to change their minds once they saw the Sith went there. So they ended up having to take 2 move actions round 1 just to get in position to start moving towards the battle droid zone. The B1s, though, were able to take out, I think, a speeder bike at the end of round 1. It actually came down to the single model leader that I left alive rolling a crit or not. He rolled the crit, and then I rolled the blank, so the speeder bike died. Had he rolled a hit or a blank as average, then my speeder bike would have been alive, but I think it was cool that it rolled a blank because just really fun. B1s are crit machines. And on the other side against the Force users, Maul went again, almost killed an entire scout unit, but was not quite able to. Maul's also still alive at this point too. My other unit of scout troopers at the end of round 1 that moved up and shot him had 1 less model because his balls had shot one of them off. And so they just basically moved up and shot Maul, and I think they did like 1 or 2 damage, so Maul was still alive. I think he had 1 or 2 health left. But then but then he attacked the scout troopers. They saved out, so there was still one of them left. I had played the disengage card, so Becky and that scout trooper could move away from him, which they did. And the scout trooper was able to kill the balls because I wanted to lower his activation so that for breakthrough, that way I have a better chance of winning. So that one scout, single dude, killed the ball. Becky just double moved towards the point. Count Dooku started moving in to try to flank them, try to cut them off. And Asajj went over and killed 1 unit of scouts. Actually round 2, Count Dooku force lightning a unit of scouts to take them all out. For the subsequent rounds after that, Becky and the scout trooper just ended up moving away from Maul and from the Force users. Count Dooku ended up having to go over and kill them. So I basically was able to use Becky and that scout trooper to distract a 200-point Force user, which felt really great. Becky also actually saved out against one of Maul against Count Dooku's first attack. I think he got like 5 hits, and it was okay if Becky. He got 4 hits, and it was like, okay, if Becky rolls 3 saves, she lives, and she rolled 3 saves, 3 or 4, so she survived at 1 health, and so next round she got killed by Maul, but it was funny that she lived. So then Darth Maul and Ventress started pushing towards the other side of the board once they had finished clearing out the scouts. On the other side of the table, the speeders just kept chewing through battle droids, ended up killing all of them round 3 really fast. Scout troopers moved up, took out a tactical droid. Speeder bikes went, finished off some B1s. Stormtroopers moved up, took some shots. I don't think he had any B1s left at the end of round 4. I think there was still a couple left at the end of round 3, but those were finished off really fast. And then basically I just used my speeders to clean up Maul, and I was able to do enough damage to Ventress so a Stormtrooper unit could shoot her and kill her. And I think the only thing I lost was the 4 Scout Troopers and Becky that went to distract the Force users, and 1 speeder bike. So yeah, that's all I lost. He only had Count Dooku left at the end of the game, though. He was able to get Count Dooku to the point, to my deployment point, so he scored 1 point. And I scored 6 points for 2 speeders, 2 scout troopers, and 2 stormtroopers. Yeah, scary to go against that many Force users, but I think it worked out. I just kept them distracted, did some damage to them so that speeders could finish them off later on, and the majority of the battle was mainly against those B1s. I really did not want them rolling well to kill my speeders in one shot. I just wanted them to all die. Yeah, so then for moving on to round 3. Alright, so this was probably the most interesting round. This is the round where I played the Republic player with the Anakin triple bark list. His full list breakdown is Anakin Skywalker with Force Push, Saber Throw, Defensive Stance, Endurance, Improvised Orders. Not Improvised Orders on him. Improvised Orders on the Clone Commander that was also in his list. And then he had 3 Clone Troopers, 2 Phase 1s, 1 with Z6, 1 with DC-15, 1 Phase 2 Clone Trooper unit with 5s, the Echo Strike team, and 3 Bark Speeders with RPS-6 Gunners. He ended up having a 10-point initiative bid. I beat him out with my 12-point bid, which felt great. I basically forced the objective hand to come down to either us playing Recover or Breakthrough, it being his choice. He chose Breakthrough because he felt he had a better chance of winning that. And I kind of agree with that, to be honest. Recover against the Scout 3 scouts would have been rough. Even if he did have speeders to go in, because I have so many scouts and they're just going to hold up anyways, those barks are kind of going to be toasted especially with my own speeder bikes also being able to rush out too. There's just a lot that he would have had to go against there. So we chose Breakthrough. He still has to kill 3 of my units though in order to win, because he has 9 activations. I have 12. My win condition is getting all my units to the zone, maybe killing 1 or 2 of his barks if possible. His win condition is he has to kill 3 of my units and kill any other units in retaliation for units that I kill, and score tie and then win on kill points. So 2 very interesting win conditions that kind of collide with each other on Breakthrough. Our deployment was battle lines. I forced it down from hemmed in because I know hemmed in would have been a little bit rough for me, a little bit better for him. Actually, it would have probably been better for me because I would have been able to set up a gun line, but that's not really what I wanted to do against his list, is engage it. I just wanted to kind of win by objective, so I chose battle lines for a more spread out deployment. And then our condition was fortified, so we got a bunch of barricades on the map that did not end up mattering. I don't think a single unit got cover bonus from a barricade or shot from a barricade. If anything, they were really just in the way, unfortunately. But it was still a great game. So for deployment, I deployed 2 of my stormtroopers behind a mountain with Becky, because essentially because a victory condition is killing 3 units, I wanted to put them behind a mountain and have Anakin and the rest of the clones feel comfortable about kind of surrounding them, or pushing on from one side and having the barks go from the other side to take him out, because that's his win condition. But secretly, my plan was to kind of move them using some of the line of sight blocking terrain they had to their right side, moving them towards the scouts in order to get inside the zone and have all the friendly fire that the scouts could give. The scouts ended up going behind this train car that was on his side of the map in his deployment zone, and I think they were all inside the deployment at the end of round 2. They pretty much just kept moving. My speeder bikes on my side went behind this little train car thing, which was great for LOS blocking. And like I said, all his lists pretty much play together. Echo was a little bit far to the right in order to get some additional sniper range, which was good because obviously he can snipe the officer while they're trying to move, the officer in the storms while they're trying to move, or support the barks a little bit easier. And the barks obviously deployed next to him because that's their best deployment, is not too far away from Anakin, but just right. Yeah, it was a very interesting round 1. I basically just activated scouts for most of my activations. I played assault in order to give my speeders the orders that way I could go with them last. My plan was to have them go out, shoot a bark up, and then following turn play, what's the card? I'm blanking out right now. It's the one that gives standby tokens, constantly alert. So it gives out standby tokens to 3 units, including speeders. So have them move out round 1 with assault at the end, and then start a round 2, play constantly alerts so they all get standbys to make more attacks and potentially wipe out 2 barks. So Anakin obviously played his 3-pip, and basically for most of the game, for most of round 1, they pretty much the clones just kept moving up and setting up their kind of line of sight setups. And his barks ended up moving out. I think 1 bark shot a scout trooper unit and killed a single model. The other 2 barks moved up and shot at some stormtroopers, I think. Yeah, I think they shot at some stormtroopers, or they might have shot at a speeder bike. No, they shot at stormtroopers. It was some rockets to apply some suppression and do some damage. Didn't really do any of that. My speeder bikes then went out at the very end of the round after all his stuff had activated and shot up a bark. Was not able to kill it. One of my speeder bikes had actually taken some damage from 1 bark and echo, so it actually was down to just 1 model. I had that singular speeder bike just bucket out of there. And then his bark went, shot the speeder bike with the attack that he made because triggered the standby off the attacks. The bark then shot the speeder bike unit, one of them, got it really weak. That speeder bike ended up bugging out for its activation. The next bark went, shot the other speeder. Well, no. Yeah, the next bark went and shot the other speeder. That speeder actually survived at 2 models left, and then shot Echo. Did not do any damage, unfortunately. So then it bugged out with 2 move actions. Echo took off the secondary model. My 3rd speeder bike unit just kept running, and the stormtroopers and Becky kept positioning along the bottom edge. I actually cohered 1 stormtrooper group in a perfect L. That way the clone troopers DC-15 unit couldn't get a range 4 shot, which felt really good. Yeah, it was pretty good positioning. And that the clone troopers all just basically kept moving up because they weren't able to apply anything. I think there was a fire support that one of them did towards one of the speeder bike units, but it did not end up killing the unit. Yeah, so we lost a bike that round, and before the end of the round, one of my scouts was actually able to move from the train car positioning that he was at and actually kill a bark, which felt great. So going into round 3, we had both lost 1 unit, and I had 2 bikes that were on the run at very weak health, and all my scouts were in position, and my stormtroopers and Becky were on the move to get to where those scouts were. I ended up having, for round 3, nothing really happened. The clones and Anakin weren't able to do anything. Becky and the stormtrooper kept moving. One stormtrooper kept moving, but the other stormtrooper unit ended up staying behind and shooting a bark that was trying to come on them. Did a couple damage to the bark, so the bark ended up bugging out, so it didn't die because it only had 1 health at that point. And then I think the third bark that he had in his list just kind of zoomed around and didn't shoot anything for an activation. And then Echo took a shot into a bar, I don't think actually Echo was able to take a shot into anything actually. Or did he kill a stormtrooper? I don't remember. I don't think Echo actually was able to do that much. I think he shot at some scouts, but wasn't able to kill anything. And unfortunately for him. And my scouts just kind of stayed in position behind their train car. One of them at the very end of the round was able to move out and actually take a range 2 shot at Echo because of how close the train car was to Echo's kind of like cover. And the scouts were actually able to come in from an angle where Echo did not have any cover, and were able to get, I think it was 6 hits, and Echo's unit rolled 2 blocks, a surge, and 3 blanks, so they both got killed, Echo and his helper. So that felt really good, getting a pivotal kill with him not really able to take any of my models off that round. And then round 4 came along. He did the air support turn with the clone commander and killed one of my bikes. The other bike was already in the deployment zone and behind good LOS blocking terrain and was just doing donuts to stay in that zone. But that one bike was still on its way and got caught out in the open and shot with the infinite range air support. So now I was down 2 units and he was down 2 units as well. So we're back down to even with, I think, him having higher kill points because I think speeder bikes are more expensive than Echo. Yeah, they are. So, no, actually, we're about even, I think, at this point. Anyways, his clones start kind of moving up. One of my stormtrooper groups is kind of cut out, so for this round 4, that stormtrooper group pretty much gets decimated down to, I think, just 1 model left. But he actually survived quite well. He actually the unit itself, though, rolled quite a bit of good saves. I think they were all average saves, but the unit survived to live to round 5, which was great, because then Anakin had to waste a saber throw on them. He wasn't able to saber throw anything else for round 5, but he did have to throw a saber on them instead of something else, so that felt good. And then for round 5, at the end of that, so then during round 4, Becky and the other stormtroopers moved up behind the the A-wing for cover. One of the barks moved in, did 3 wounds to Becky. She actually rolled a little bit higher average to stay alive, which felt great. And then I had 2 scouts go in to try to kill the bark. I had 2 scouts double move to get to where Echo's old mountain was. The plan was to kill a bark unit. Did not quite work out, though. The first shot did no damage, and then he activated a clone unit and just eviscerated the scouts. They did not roll well against 5 crits. The second scout unit just double moved to kind of bug out and not die. Then Anakin went, tried to get a saber throw on Becky, was not able to, so instead had to saber throw the single stormtrooper that we already talked about. But then my scout troopers on the train car were actually able to climb over the train car and get range 2 on the bark that was in the center of the field that was shooting at Becky. And they were able to get 1 shot off, do a bunch of damage to it. He was not able to draw the bark and instead activate something else, and then I was able to kill the bark with the second activation, which felt amazing. So now he was down 3 units, I was down 3 units at this point as well, but Becky and the stormtrooper were able to double move to make it to the point for the following round. It is important to note that his final bark at 1 HP could have double moved and shot a rocket into Becky to try to finish her off, but unfortunately the bark was damaged, so he was not able to get the 2 actions with the compulsory move for 3 actions he needed. He only had the compulse move and 1 action afterwards, so he was not able to get a rocket off on Beck. So for round 6, we pretty much called it at the start of round 6 because it was like, okay, Anakin can't make it to throw a saber or anything. That bark may be able to go in and kill Becky, but then it gets shot by stormtroopers and dies, and I win. 7-6, I think is what we counted it out point wise as. Yeah, so we ended up just calling the game. I think he got 7 victory points and I won by 8, or yeah, 8 because I lost 1 scout unit. And yeah, it was a very, very interesting game. Very close on our skill levels, and it was super fun to play. Yeah, it was an intense game. We both, like, at the end of it, we were just like, oh god, that was, whew, like, it was just like, actually, like, yeah, just such a high relief. I think the one mistake I made during that game was moving my scouts out to engage. I should have just had them set up to move behind the train card next round, like the other scouts did, just to take out the bark. That was an unnecessary loss of an activation. And yeah, I think that was about it. I think mistake-wise, I think we both played a really good game. The speeders rolled some pretty good saves and stayed alive a little bit longer. Only one of them made it back to the point, though, which I think is a given no matter what, really. And the stormtroopers did really well. I did think I messed up on my stormtroopers. I had the unit with the medical droid stay behind when I should have had the stormtroopers with the specialist stay behind, because the medical droid could have healed Becky and kept her around. At least she survived to the end, but it could have kept her around feeling a lot better, a lot more confident about keeping her alive. And the stormtrooper specialist might have actually been able to kill that one bark with the one shot. So a bit of misplay on the stormtroopers. Lost activation unnecessarily, but still played a good game. And he played well, because he has been playing the list for a while, and it is a very strong list. Learned some mistakes from that first match. Second match, fought against something I never fought against before, and that played very aggressively, and was able to, I guess, outplay it. I don't know if I really outplayed it, or if I guess I did, technically. And then for my third game, going against a really, really interesting match that was super fun to play. Yeah. I'm not saying that from winning either. I think it was just fun in general. It was really a fun match. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the battle report I had for this store tournament. There was really no prizes. I think I ended up just winning a alternate art Pike German print card, which is cool, I guess. But it's still really cool. I really enjoyed the Tempest Force list. I think if I was to change it in the future, I'd probably replace one of the Stormtroopers with another Imperial officer. Just because that second Imperial officer could be really strong, because just the increased commander range is really good. And I really noticed that 2 Stormtroopers really wasn't doing that much. Unfortunately, one of the Stormtroopers just kept rolling blanks every time it attacked, so it just did not matter. The medical droid was nice, though. I do like the Stormtrooper specialist, though. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good list. I like it. I definitely am looking forward to playing something different, though, just because I've been playing this for a little while now. So I think I'm going to go to C.O.D Clone Troopers and see how that works, because I've been wanting to play him since he came out, and I just haven't been able to. Though maybe we put Operative Vader on the table, because I have his card, and that would be really fun. Yeah, but anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the battle report. Looking forward to the next Legion games I do. And yeah, it was a very fun tournament. Learned a lot, had a lot of fun, met my goal, went 2-1, and yeah, it was great. Well, see you guys next time. May the Force be with you, good luck, and get rock and rollin'.